If you are hurting right now, if you're in the middle of a breakup, whatever your situation is, if you are hurting, I hope that you can look at me and hear my words and know that it gets better. You need to realize that two different people are two different people, and this person's motives are different than this person's motive. And everything that I thought wasn't possible, I have. When this relationship ended, I was left feeling betrayed, I was feeling hurt, I was feeling angry, and I'm usually someone that can fall back on the idea that everything happens for a reason. Everything will be okay in the end, like all of this is connected. And when this happened, when this relationship ended, I had completely washed myself of that comforting belief, which is the truth. You know, everything is going to be okay, like there's good in everything, you're here for a reason. I still believe that. At the time, in the thick of it, I didn't. This relationship ending really blindsided me. It was incredibly abrupt. It caught me off guard. It turned my entire world upside down. I completely shut down. I didn't know how to handle it. And the way that I naturally kind of let myself handle it is what I've learned now is called ultra independence. Ultra independence is a trauma response. To kind of explain what that meant for me was I very much so became this person of I am the most independent boss bitch that doesn't need anybody. I don't ever want to be married. I will never trust a man again. Men are trash. All men cheat. All they do is lie. Like, all they do is use you. I was in, like, it's laughable almost to think about it now, because I was taking this experience from this one person that meant a lot to me at the time. I was taking my experience with this one person that happened to be a man, and I was using that experience as an umbrella over the entire male population. I'd see these healthy, loving relationships around me. I would see people in love, and it wasn't even like me being bitter about, you know, what happened to me or being single. It really was like me refusing to believe that something good and that love was real. Like, I refused to believe that. I would look around and see these relationships and create these scenarios in my head, like, oh, you know, he's cheating on her, or oh, they don't really love each other, like there's this going on. Like, none of it was real, and it's crazy to think about. And this was never something that I would, like, you know, start a conversation with someone else. You know, if my friend was like in a healthy relationship and she was talking to me about her boyfriend or something like sweet that he did, of course I was supportive, but like in my head I was like, there's something going on here. I think I had a little bit of confirmation bias, which, if you don't know what that is, it's like a psychological phenomena. I'll read the definition. It's the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. So I think I was really good at like seeing the worst in every male possible, and like, it was so toxic. And it's hard for me to talk about it. I feel just, it's crazy, like the amount, the significance that one person and one experience can have on you, and it seeps into all these different areas of your life. Like, not even just my romantic relationships. Like, I had a hard time in other areas because of my belief system and because of this narrative that I was feeding myself. That was very much so my mindset. That was very much so how I viewed men. I'm a straight woman, so I like men, but you know, whatever your sexual preference is, you can kind of put yourself in my shoes. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to be talking about men because that was my experience. But really was like, men are trash. All men are trash. Like, I'm gonna be single forever. I have so many positive male figures in my life that I like allowed myself to kind of disregard just so I could like drive along this narrative that was all from one experience in one human being. So now I kind of want to talk about the first moment of a glimpse of clarity for me, that kind of made me realize the toxicity of the headspace that I was in, and I credit this to my sister Taylor. One thing about Taylor is she is going to tell you how it is. She has a very tough love type of approach. This was maybe a month after my breakup, and I remember I was just kind of getting on my soapbox, talking about how all of these men do this and they do that. And she kind of looked at me, and I don't know if she recognizes like how vital this was for me and how this really like helped bring me to where I am now. But she kind of said to me something along the lines of, you know, if you're saying that men are this and you fully believe that all men are this, then that's what you're putting out there. And those type of men that do exist, but is not like a blanket statement. You can't use that to describe all of them because they're not all that way. But those type of men that fulfill, like that check those boxes, are going to find their way to you. And I was like, that's valid, you know, that's true. The second moment of clarity actually happened at work, like last year around this time actually, which I don't even know if she recalls this conversation, but maybe she will if she's watching this video. My coworker randomly asked me, you know, like, are you in a relationship? Like, do you have a boyfriend? Like, what, you know? And I was like, no, I don't. And she said, you know, something along the lines of, oh yeah, like I could see that you seem super, super independent and you seem very like, you know, nothing can kind of fuck with me. I was very like centered on my job, making money, you know, and like all those are great things, but like you can be in a good relationship and also have that. And at the time I didn't think that. I thought it had to be all or nothing, and I really like fueled that. I was like, oh, now I'm single, now I can really focus on this, I don't need anybody. And she was kind of like, yeah, you know, you seem in the, she meant this in I think the most loving way possible, and her perception of me at the time is completely valid because looking back, that's the persona that I gave off, that I was super, super independent to the point where like I didn't even want anybody and I was almost unapproachable, and I 100% was. And that just aligns with that ultra independence. Like that trauma response comes from this person clearly doesn't want me, they want someone else, or they just don't want me. So like, yeah, I don't need them either, even though you wanted them. You thought things were going well, something happened, they don't want you anymore. I fueled that notion, and like it was a coping mechanism for me to be like, yeah, I don't need him, but I also don't need anybody else. I'm doing just fine. It was just me trying to almost like prove to myself that, yeah, I don't need him, I don't need anybody. I can do this, I can do that, and I can do it all on my own, and I can be happy and successful doing it. It was after these two pretty brief and at the time seemingly insignificant conversations that I had with my sister and my coworker that I started to kind of realize my patterns, and it was like my behavioral patterns and my thought patterns that just surrounded love and relationships and men in general. I started to realize that like I was looking for a relationship in all of the wrong places. And when I started to like go out again with my friends, obviously I would be talking to guys, and it was always the same type of guy. You know, it was this guy that clearly did not give a shit. He wanted to hook up, he wanted this and he wanted that. That's not what I wanted at the time. Like, I don't know what I wanted, but it wasn't that. I found a quote from a Psychology Today article talking about confirmation bias that says, we seek out relationships and situations that feel familiar and feel comfortable. And this is why people, which I think people here applies to me, people can be caught in a cycle because it feels familiar and quote deserved. So I think that I had been treated such a way for so long that I had told myself that that's what I deserved and that's all I could get. And like it didn't matter what type of girlfriend or significant other I was, because I had only ever experienced this unhealthy relationship. I had only experienced this mental, emotional abuse, and that's all I knew. And I really think I started to believe that that's what I deserved, and that's all love would ever be for me, because that's all I saw. But I started to notice these patterns in myself, and every time I would kind of catch myself speaking that way or thinking that way that just wasn't based in reality, it was only based in one experience I had with one person on this earth, I kind of checked myself. I kind of made like a mental inventory of like, okay, this is how I'm feeling. This is what caused me to feel that way. This in the past, like this happened in the past with this person and is causing me to feel this way with this person in this situation, and those two cannot be related because those are not the same person, and this is a different time and these are different situations. And it really, for me, takes taking a step back and kind of talking yourself through your thoughts and why these thoughts are coming into your head, and how to honor your thoughts and your feelings, but not identify with them and not let them consume you and carry over until you're just stuck in this vicious cycle of thinking that everyone's out to get you and everyone's gonna do the same thing that this one person did to you. I had trust issues. I most definitely still from time to time have my moments, just given what I've been through in the past. But I think it's so important, and it's so much easier said than done. It requires a lot of work on your end if you've been through something like this, but you need to realize that two different people are two different people, and this person's motives are different than this person's motives. Your relationship with this person is different than your relationship with this person. And although you need to respect and honor and heal from that feeling of betrayal, you need to feel that, and it's okay. It's okay to feel that. It's okay for that to linger, because it's naturally going to, but you can't let it be your end-all be-all. You can't let that stop you from trying a relationship with someone completely new, because you could be missing out on something so incredibly great. It's hard. It's difficult. I am with the most loving, compassionate, supportive person right now, and it's crazy for me to think in the beginning that his intentions were ever different than what they are, just because of that person in the past. I would say also I listened to Kenzie Elizabeth and Dom Roberts on Kenzie's podcast, which is the I Love You So Much podcast, and I listened to the non-negotiables episode. And basically what they talked about is they both formed like a list, and they, you know, had boxes of like their non-negotiables in a significant other. And this leads me into my next topic of, you need to know yourself enough to thrive in a relationship. I want you all to hear this so clearly, because I wish that I could go back to my past self and shake myself and say, it's okay to take up space. It's okay to have needs. In fact, everyone has needs, and you need to communicate those with the people that you're around, especially your significant other. You need to take up space. You need to have boundaries for yourself. If something that someone is doing is upsetting you or hurting you or triggering you, you need to tell that person so that A, they are hopefully a respectable person that cares about you and will stop or make an effort to like change that behavior, or B, you'll find out that maybe they really don't respect you or care about you, and then you're left with that choice to make yourself. I think I really let a lot of things slide looking back in hindsight, that, you know, if I knew this and I knew myself a little bit more and I felt a little bit stronger in my sense of self-worth and self-confidence, maybe I would have said something. Maybe I would have left that relationship. And I think having boundaries, having non-negotiables, taking up space, I think all of those mean the same thing. But please don't ever let anyone tell you that you're too needy or that you're ridiculous or that you're crazy, because you're not. You're a human being that is in a relationship, and what's to be expected of that is for two people to communicate with each other on how they're feeling, what they need, and that is okay. Whatever your situation is, if you are hurting, I hope that you can look at me and hear my words and know that it gets better. I wish I had this video, like a future me, so past me could watch this and be like, oh, that's gonna be her this many days forward and I'm doing just fine. And I'm like actually really, really happy with my life right now, and everything that I thought wasn't possible, I have someone that loves me and supports me and sees me deeper than anyone's ever seen me before. I have something that I've always wanted that I never thought would be possible. I don't know if it's because I didn't think I deserved it, or because my standards were too high, or because I was too picky. But let me tell you, if anyone says those things to you, that your standards are too high, or you're too particular, you're too picky, no, you're not. You just know who you are and you know what you deserve. Hold on to that, and please don't settle for anything less. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for letting me get tearful on the internet. I hope that you enjoyed this. I really want to be here for anyone that is going through something similar, or if you're just hurting in general, please reach out to me. Do not hesitate to reach out to me. I will link my Instagram below. DM me. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. I'll link my account below. And let's talk about it. I only want to use this platform and my videos, I want them to be a source of healing for people. I want them to bring you light. And I want to open up conversations that I feel like are hard, but necessary. So please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys so soon.